Right, Mr. President, that this is a very unique case kasi andun yung operative phrase na oportunidad na marinig sila. So,
That's just my rephrasing, Your Honor.
yes, baka nga naman, Mr. President. So,
Yes. Well, in most cases, and I'm only citing this for the benefit of my chairpersons, kasi it is in our rules that each committee has the power to cite in contempt their resource persons. Of course, sometimes we are quick to fire the trigger, to pull the trigger in this particular cases. So we'd like to be guided accordingly. But in all honesty, when we have public hearings, particularly on public order and security, Blue Ribbon, none of them will give self-discriminating answers. Di ba? Wala talaga. They will say, no, we did not do that, even if there were 5 other witnesses pointing them that they did it. Case in point, yung barilan dun sa Malabon, na ang dami ng witness na lumabas na sinabi siya yung bumaril, sila yung pumatay sa bata. At I believe Senator Risa or one of our colleagues here was the one to cite them in contempt, no? For giving false statements. So we'd like to know the parameters in doing so, in doing our constitutional duty, in acting, well, of course, in aid of legislation, and in the case of the Blue Ribbon, to come up with a Blue Ribbon Committee report so that the agencies such as the Sandigan or the Ombudsman are guided accordingly. So, ang sinasabi dito sa decision na to, it is how, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not a lawyer, Your Honors, but it is how the decision to cite them in contempt is what the Supreme Court is trying to correct. Is that the right answer, Your Honor? Mr. Chair, Mr. Sponsor.
Yes, Your Honor. It's always the exercise. They're not questioning the exercise of the power, but the methods in the exercise in citing the petitioners in contempt or giving them, ordering the arrest without giving them an opportunity to be heard. So siguro balikan na lang yung circumstances of the case and pag-aralan so we can be guided accordingly for the future, Your Honor.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you,
Mr. Sponsor. Thank you to the Supreme Court. I'm glad that timing, no lumabas itong tanong na ito, ang daming messages galing sa media. Our colleagues in our chat, we have an all-members group chat, has asked us also to ask this particular question to clarify the issue once and for all, moving forward. Minority Leader?
sige po, maybe the Senate Legal Counsel can prepare a memo for us incorporating this latest decision of the Supreme
So
Court.
ordered, we'd like to ask the Senate Legal Division to come up with the clarification in layman's terms, please.
Isama na
for
po
those-
itong latest decision.
Yes,
po.
absolutely.
Okay, absolutely.
Thank you. Thank
So with that, Mr. President, marami pa sana akong katanungan, but of course, I think we can ask this directly na lang kay Justice Raul Villanueva. And then, of course, we reiterate our pledge and our commitment to support the entire justice system, including the judiciary, Mr. President. Napakahalagang aspeto or component ng ating lipunan. Kailangan, the harmony of our society is dependent on our judicial system, Mr. President. So for example, kung may request lang po ang ating Sandigan Bayan, this representation sponsored the creation of additional divisions po sa Sandigan Bayan. Just approach us kung ano pa po ang matutulong natin sa Sandigan Bayan. CTA is you're being mentioned here because of their anti-smuggling new bill, which envisions a new approach. Kayo na po ang naiisip kasi out of desperation, kailangan gusto ng sponsor, trustworthy court ang gusto niya eh. So that's a big praise or a plus for the CTA na kayo po ang pinagtitiwalaan ng ating sponsor na may new approach sa anti-smuggling effort po natin. And then of course all the other courts. So we are here to support you. That of course we are also leaving out the the provisions of our Constitution na meron po tayong checks and balances. And this is the interpolating on the budget of the judiciary is one way of checking on the judiciary, Mr. President. Thank you very much, Mrs. Sponsor, for your patience and for our resource persons.
Thank you very much to our brilliant lawyer in the Senate.
Before the
Distinguished
majority floor leader acts on the motion to approve the budget, just two things we'd like, either one, oh sorry, my apologies. Please proceed, majority leader.
Mr. President, we now recognize Senator Tulfo to interpolate the budget of the Judiciary.
Senator, distinguished colleague, Senator Rafi Tulfo is recognized.
Good morning, Mr. President. Good morning to our dear sponsor of the Judiciary's budget, as well as the other senators present and our guests from the Judiciary. Nandito po ako ngayon upang suportahan ang budget ng Judiciary at kung maaari ay mas mabigyang halaga ang pangangailangan nito upang mas makapagbigay sila ng maayos na serbisyo at karagdagang hustisya sa taong bayan. In 2023, the total budget of the Judiciary was 54.9 billion pesos. They proposed for 2024 a budget of 71.91 billion pesos. But in the 2024 NEP, National Expenditure Program, the entire Judiciary is only given 57.79 billion. Mr. President, our judiciary, being the third constitutional branch of the government, serves a distinct purpose that renders our work here in the legislative more effective, especially to the people to whom our laws are being applied to. And an independent judiciary is crucial in the delivery of justice, where they are not beholden to anyone. If our courts can sustain itself independently of other bodies such as the LGUs, it would shield them from influence in the handling of cases that are brought before them. Our judiciary needs its independence when it comes to their budget. Sa aking programa po, sa Wanted sa Radyo, nakikita ko po kung gaano kahalaga sa mga tao ang hidikatura. Of course, we try to help the people resolve their problems by acting as informal mediators. And while we are successful in some cases, there are definitely cases that need the intervention of the courts. And once the courts are involved, we leave it to them because they know better. And whenever we see people succeed in their court cases, bumabalik po ito sa amin at nakikita namin ang malaking bagay sa kanila ito. And so I would like to give my all-out support, in particular to our lower courts, the frontliners of our judiciary. Sila pong humaharap sa mga tao, and they have the earliest opportunity to actually resolve the legal issues of the people. The infrastructure of our lower courts deserve our support because it gives these institutions their dignity. Kung pupunta po tayo sa ilang mga korte, kalunos-lunos po ang kondisyon. I would like to also give my full support for the modernization plan or the innovation plan of the Supreme Court for our lower courts. During the pandemic, we saw how processes could be digitalized to expedite matters. Mas mabilis po kung may internet at data plan ang mga courts to enable them to communicate through email or text para ma-inform ang mga tao sa status ng kanilang mga kaso. Isa na po ang postponement ng mga kaso. Marami pong courts ang walang sariling telepono or mahirap tawagan. If they all have official mobile numbers that have enough data, they could probably send immediately to the parties pag hindi po tuloy ang kaso. Kasi ang pag-postpone ng mga kaso ay mabigat po sa bulsa ng mga litigante. Pupunta sila doon, mamasahe, magbabayad ng abogado, mag-absent sa trabaho, pero mapopospone lang pala. Sana ay may paraan na masabihan ng mga litigante ng maaga bago pa dumating ang araw ng kaso. Susunod po, napansin ko na nawala sa NEP ang budget para sa hazard pay ng mga judges. In the past, budget, they were given hazard pay. It does not make sense that we have withdrawn this allocation from them. Our judges are in constant risk of their lives given the nature of their work. Maliit na bagay if we give this to them. Because our judges, ito po, ang umaharap sa mga litigante. Ang madami po sa mga litigante, ang hindi natin matansya ang pag-iisip. Ang kanilang emosyon. May mga mainitang dugo, galit. And our judges have to face these people and tell them that they lost in their cases. What changed in 2024? Nagka-superpowers po ba ang ating mga judges? At hindi na sila at risk? Seriously, I urge my dear colleagues that we give back this small amount of 221.8 million pesos hazard pay for our lower court judges. It goes into the morale of our judges. Dito po sa GAB, nakalagay na ibinalik ang 221,000. Teka muna, 221,000 pesos na budget para sa hazard pay. Typo error po ba ito? If it is a typo error, ayusin po natin, gawin nating 221.8 million pesos po. Finally, I noted the budget of 537 million pesos for the creation of family courts in regions 2, 8, 10, and 12 have not been given. I support this request for the judiciary. Recently, sa akin pong pag-uwi sa Isabela, kamakailan lang, marami po nagsabi sa akin na tumaas ang kaso ng mga crimes against justice, including those involving children. Actually po, mga kamag-anak na binibiktima ang mga bata. Let me give you some data. For the year 2022, these are the pending cases in regions 2, 8, 10, and 12 that should be handled by family courts na ngayon ay nasa RTC. Pending vowsy cases as of 2022. Sa Region 2, 630. Sa Region 8, 251. Sa Region 10, 584. Sa Region 12, 388. Pending rate involving minors cases as of 2022 na nasa RTC na dapat ay family court. Region 2, 1,184. Region 8, 753. Region 10, 1,239. Region 12, 561. Pending child abuse cases as of 2022. Region 2, 692. Region 8, 628. Region 10, 1,001. Region 12, 433. Finally, pending human trafficking cases as of 2022, Region 2, 42, Region 8, 36, Region 10, 54, Region 12, 8. Family courts also handle all cases including children, drugs cases, adoption, annulment, guardianship, custody, acts of lasciviousness, support, and legal separation. We need family courts for Region 2 covering Batanes, Cagayan, Isabela, Nueva Vizcaya, Quirino, and Tuguegarao. Region 8 covering Biliran, Eastern Leyte, Northern Samar, Southern Leyte, and Tacloban. Region 10 covering Bukidnon, Camiguin, Llano del Norte, Misamis Occidental, Misamis Oriental, and Cagayan de Oro. And finally, Region 12 covering Cotabato, Sarangani, South Cotabato, Sultan Kudarat, General Santos, and Coronadal. At present, there are 2,397 family court cases in Region 2, 762 in Region 8, 2,381 in Region 10, and 1,310 in Region 12. These cases are being handled by designated region trial courts, Mr. President. These courts are overburdened when it should be handled by family courts that could not be opened because we have not allocated budget to them. Mr. President, our family courts help implement several laws that we enact here in the Senate, laws that particularly protect children. These children are brought to court, should be protected and be handled properly. Maraming salamat po, Mr. President.
Thank you, Your Honor, to the gentleman from Isabela in Ilocos. Sa committee pa lang ho, Mr. President, talagang binabantayan ho ni Senator Raffy itong mga ito at tamang-tama ang kanyang manifestasyon sapagkat yan din ho ang gusto ng korte. At sinama po natin yung binanggit niyang hazard pay, establishment of family courts dahil dito sa kanyang sa committee pa lang tinutulak na po niya ito dahil alam niya ito ang gusto ng judikatura. Ito po yung sinama na po natin sa Senate Committee Report. That's the good news, Senator Raffy. We'll work on your other requests kung meron man. At salamat po nagpapasalamat sa inyo ang ating mga huwes at judikatura dahil binigyan nyo ng pansin yung kanilang hingil. Salamat po to our colleague, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Senator Raffy Tulfo. Majority Leader.
Mr. President, there being no other reservation for interpellation.
Before we act on the motion, I just wanted to just put on record two things, or a few things. First of all, excuse me, Majority Leader, hindi ko makita si sponsor. First of all, please, would like to put on record that for the Judiciary, I know there are several pending bills that you are asking us to pass. So one of them is, of course, on fiscal autonomy. We are waiting for the bill on that. I mean, the committee report to be sponsored in plenary. And sino yung committee chair? So it's Senator Tolentino who's supposed to present that in plenary. We also are pushing for the increase in number of Sharia courts because yun din ang pag-meeting natin, I believe in Cagayan de Oro, requested natin Chief Justice, yung additional Sharia courts outside of the BARM because tama po siya. Ang mga kapatid natin Muslim ay nasa iba't ibang parte ng Pilipinas. Meron sa Baguio, meron sa Boracay, meron sa Manila, sa Taguig. And apparently, when there are cases under the jurisdiction of the Sharia court, they have to go pa to the BARM to hear these cases. So we're making sure na may pasa po natin ito to our distinguished colleagues from the Supreme Court. We are going to pass these measures, hopefully sooner rather than later. Nakatutok po tayo dyan. So, yun lang po, Mr. Sponsor, maraming salamat and we thank the Judiciary for joining us, all the branches, from the CTA, the Sandigan Bayan, as well as office, of course, the Supreme Court and the Court of Appeals.
They're very grateful to you for filing the bill on fiscal autonomy, Mr. President. Salamat po. Thank you for the updates.
Hope you can assist me in pushing our chairman to sponsor it right away.
Yes, Mr. President,
Chairman
of course.
Tolentino.
Yes, the very busy gentleman. Yes. Yes, Mr. President, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. President, I move that we close the period of interpellation and consider the budget of the Judiciary and its attached agencies, the Supreme Court of the Philippines and lower courts, Presidential Electoral Tribunal, Sandigan Bayan, Court of Tax Appeals, and Court of Appeals and Court of Tax Appeals to be deemed submitted for the body's consideration.
There being no objection to the motion of the Majority Floor Leader, the budgets of the aforementioned offices of the Judiciary and the Judiciary are deemed submitted. Congratulations. May we have a minute suspension so we may approach the resource person. Session suspended.